That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPTA 20 Chicago's Progressive Talk. Welcome to the Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the United States. I am your host, John Parker. Jim Pounds, my executive producer. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good
know,
evening, and good night, depending on if you're streaming us, listening on your podcast, listening live, etc. In the studio today, as always, thank you, Patrick, for doing all that you do to support this show.
Well, thank you for letting me produce your show. Now, to answer Jim's comment, I know people in internet communities, and there are a lot of people from across the globe that say good time zone, since they don't know what time it is in your particular location.
I like that.
A good time zone to you today,
That's
sir.
right.
I like that, Patrick.
Wherever you are.
Okay, well, if you are listening in the 2 p.m. Central Hour, we can take your calls at 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Before we get started today, the 15th Annual Walk for Recovery is this Saturday, September 13th. Team AM 950 is going to join hundreds of other teams supporting Minnesota Recovery Connections Walk for Recovery on the grounds of the Minnesota State Capitol. What is the Walk for Recovery, you ask? The Walk for Recovery is a powerful expression of the positive impact that people in recovery can make. Help us break the stigma of addiction by joining Team AM 950 at the walk or by making a donation. All the proceeds will help Minnesota Recovery Connection continue their mission to strengthen the recovery community through peer-to-peer support, public education, and advocacy. When you sign up to walk with Team AM 950, you'll also have the chance to score a pair of tickets to the Rally Caps for Recovery Twins game, which will be on Tuesday, September 16th, when the Yankees take on the Twins. And the team that raises the most funds this year will be featured on the 2026 Walk for Recovery official t-shirt. If you can't make it to the Capitol on September 13th, you can still support Team AM 950 by donating online. Every dollar makes a difference now more than ever. So you can go to minnesotarecovery.org/walk. Where you're there, you can register to join AM 950's team, and or you can make a donation. Also, there's a lot of info about other Recovery Month events that are happening. So that website again is minnesotarecovery.org/walk. Also, you can listen to Minnesota Recovery every Saturday morning right here on AM 950. They have their own long-running radio program, and I highly encourage you to check it out. It is a good listen. I was going to say a fun read. It is more than a fun read. It's a good listen.
Yeah. I talked to Jennifer, and she's like, yeah, we need lots of people to show up and make our team bigger. So we encourage you to do that.
Jennifer Ogren here at AM 950 is organizing Team AM 950.
Right.
Yes. So you can go to that website where it says to register. You can sign up there, or you can even call the station, and the phone number is on our website, am950radio.com, because I can only remember the phone number for the control room to talk to us.
Right. That's enough.
But if you go to the website, am950radio.com, you can find the station website where you can call to ask about how you can join Team AM 950 and raise funds for an amazing cause and walk this weekend. It's actually the whole event runs from, I thought it was just a walk. The walk's at 1, and it's a full day of events from 10 until 3 at the Minnesota State Capitol. So,
and nice weather, I think.
Get your tennis shoes on.
If I remember correctly. Decent weather.
I don't even, we're in Minnesota, so we shouldn't even bother about looking at the weather anymore, right? We just
survive.
It says the person who literally complains about every drop of
every minute
and every
of
cloud.
every day.
And every degree below 70. All right. What is on the show today besides ranting about the weather? Google's algorithm is once again problematic for the LGBTQ community. New research is out that says using science to create laws are breaking down in the MAGA party, and that they are increasingly less and less likely to use actual science to create laws and policy. And according to everyone in the country and international observers, the Democrats are, quote, in disarray. So why are they winning and forecasted to win all the elections this year? But up first, a Michigan judge has just issued a ruling that has essentially and shockingly approved of January 6th.
Yeah.
And you may be going, what, John? What are you talking about? So in Michigan, there were 15 people, including leaders within the Michigan Republican Party, who decided to become fake electors. I mean, they were fake electors, but they tried to position themselves as the official electors in Michigan in the 2020 election to be sent to Congress, and they would give the votes from Michigan to Trump,
Right.
even though Biden won the state.
Right. They tried the same bull crap in Wisconsin.
Oh, multiple states.
Well, right.
Arizona,
Right.
Wisconsin, Michigan, others.
Right.
Well, Judge Kristen D. Simmons has announced in a ruling that these cases are not going to go over to a circuit court and that every single one of them is going to be dismissed. According to AP News, part of the reason is that they sincerely believed
Right.
what Trump was saying.
Yeah.
And so because of this, their actions weren't fraudulent. Whether they were right, wrong, or indifferent, Judge Simmons ruled they seriously believed, quote unquote, there were problems with the election. And here's the best part. I believe they were executing their constitutional right to seek redress.
Oh. So whatever they believe, as long as they believe it, no matter what the propaganda lie is,
That's AP
they're
News.
protected. That's terrible.
NBC News. This is even better. So first of all, because Trump said something, therefore, if you sincerely believe in it, that means that you can engage in trying to overturn the election.
Yeah.
Okay. Problem number one in Judge Simmons' ruling. Problem number two is, I'm going to just quote here from the decision. Here's Judge Simmons. The prosecution would like the court to believe the prosecution. I'm going to time out. The prosecution is the state of Michigan. The Attorney General, Dana Nessel, has filed lawsuit against these 15 people.
And good for her.
So Judge Simmons, quote, the prosecution would like the court to believe that these named defendants were savvy or sophisticated enough to understand fully the electoral process, which the court does agree because the document that was presented doesn't even align with the level of sophistication that they want me to believe. So apparently, if you're bad at doing crime, that's okay.
Yeah. People in Michigan should let this woman know what they think of her.
So basically,
thinking.
I mean, if you take that logic, if I try to rob a store, but I'm bad at it, then I can't be charged with attempted robbery because if I'm not savvy or sophisticated enough to fully understand how to rob a store, then apparently I shouldn't be charged with any crime related to said robbery.
Isn't this the party of personal responsibility? And now these people have no responsibility to have any reasonable thought or caution or pause about overthrowing an election? What kind of a moron believes that? I'm ashamed of that judge.
And you may be asking, well, how are they not savvy and sophisticated? The Judge Simmons says this alternate document doesn't state it's an official document of the state of Michigan. She said it doesn't have the governor's signature. It doesn't have a fake seal on it. Again, if you're bad at crime, then apparently you don't need to be charged with attempting to do the crime.
It's interesting that same thing was attempted. The same crime was committed in, what did you say? I think it's 8 states where they did the exact same thing. So it looks like it was just these poor, stupid Michiganders. But no, actually, it was a conspiracy that was done the same way, very similar way in 8 different states. I mean, what is the matter with her? How did she get? Oh my goodness.
Well, you know,
What a
so
doofus.
here are the two things for how to get off from doing a crime. Number one, believe anything that sincerely believe
Sincerely.
what Trump tells you to do, and then be bad at it.
Yeah.
And if you meet both of those conditions, according to Judge Simmons, you
Right.
cannot be charged with a crime and should not be prosecuted.
Yeah, that says something terrible about Michigan. I'm sorry, I know that's your home state, but that's disgraceful. Shame on her.
Attorney General Nessel says that they are going to look at the ruling and then decide if they're going to appeal at a, quote, later time. Nessel said in a statement, the evidence was clear. They lied. They knew they lied, and they tried to steal the votes of millions of Michiganders. And if they can get away with this, well, what can they get away with next?
Right. Yeah, it's a shameful precedent, and shame on her. If you know her, let her know what you think of that in Michigan. And, in Wisconsin, in my state, we had trouble getting the attorney general. I don't think they ever did bring charges. They did an investigation, but unless I'm mistaken, I might be mistaken, he couldn't even get his ducks in a row to actually charge them with something. Which, what are they afraid of? I don't understand. This was so blatantly wrong.
So the question then, according to Judge Simmons, which a question that we could put to her, should the people who assaulted Congress be allowed to be charged? I mean, they didn't stop the certification, so should they be charged with trespassing? They sincerely believed what Trump said, so were they just sincerely exercising their constitutional rights to redress? They meet both of her conditions. They sincerely believed Trump, and they were bad at crime because they didn't accomplish what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
I'd
love to have somebody talk
stunning.
to her who was one of her law professors. It's the same thing with the dope in Florida. I'd love to talk to their law. We should interview their law professors because that's shocking stupidity. I'm not even going to call them a judge, that person's part.
That's all I'm going to say for this, for right now. We got to fit in a break. Before we do, I want to share about our travel partner, Travel Marquette. And the reason why is that Marquette, Michigan is a very, very special place for me. For the past 10 years, I have been going to Marquette at least twice a year. And part of the reason I love it is I don't have to worry about being queer while traveling. It's a university town. It is a super blue city and a reliably blue county, a very active pride organization. And Marquette has all the things I need for a long weekend getaway. Good restaurants, excellent bookstores, relaxing hiking, time out in nature, and delicious bakeries. I've already been there once for Pride, headed back this October. If this is something you would like to do, you can go to travelmarquette.com to start your journey. You are listening to The Gailey Show on WCPTA 20 and AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota. This October, let your imagination and heart return to the movie theaters for the 6th annual Flip the Script Queer Film Festival. 9 days of groundbreaking animated, documentary, short, and feature-length films that push the boundaries of love, family, and relationships. This fall, let's watch the unexpected. October 3rd through the 11th at Film North in St. Paul. Digital passes available. Tickets on sale September 5th at flipthescriptfest.org.
On view at Minneapolis Institute of Art, artist Mary Sully was a visionary ahead of her time. Born on Standing Rock Reservation, she worked in near obscurity between the 1920s and 1940s, creating intricate, vividly colored drawings that blend Dakota heritage with modern life. Now on display at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, experience the first solo exhibition featuring Mary Sully's work, only at MIA until September 21st, and always free to visit. Learn more at artsmia.org.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP, or visit snapconstruction.com.
Hey, Francois, where are we going and why do you have so many canvas bags?
Salut Laura, on y va chez Nicolette's Macaron.
Oh, I've never been to Nicolette's store. They're just off Highway 169 and 36th in Plymouth.
Oui, ils ont 16 saveurs de macaron là.
They have 16 flavors of macaroons at the store. That's why you have so many canvas bags. I love how Nicolette supports small food entrepreneurs. Let's hurry. They're open afternoons, Wednesday through Friday, and midday on Saturdays.
Nicolette est génial. Allons-y.
Let's go.
Overwhelmed trying to make sense of Medicare? As a licensed advisor, I can help you determine your healthcare needs and evaluate your options. I'm Harvey Pearl of Pearl & Company, and I want you to have the peace of mind knowing you have the best coverage available. You deserve an advocate you can trust and coverage you can rely on. And there's no fee, ever. Annual enrollment is October 15th through December 7th. Find me at pearlsofwisdom.com. That's PERLES of wisdom.com. So we can strategize together.
Welcome back to the Daily Show. I am John Parker. We're coming up on the bottom of the hour. If you're listening in the 2 p.m. Central Hour, we can take your calls at 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I barely just got my headphones on because I just saw a story come through about the actor Jonathan Bailey,
Yes.
who is stepping away from acting to help LGBTQ plus charities.
That's
And I was like so into the story. I was like, oh my gosh, I hear the music. I got my headphones on.
you almost heard me trying to take over the show. That would have
Right.
been frightening.
Apparently, in an interview with British Gentleman's Quarterly, he said, quote, I've been working solidly for about 3 years now, which has been amazing and mind-blowing. With everything happening in the world right now, I'm going to stop acting for a bit next year and just focus on the Shameless Fund. Over the next few months, I'll be focused on staffing and making sure we get all the right people in all the right places. And if you're wondering, what is the Shameless Fund? It raises cash through global brand collaborations to power up international, national, and grassroots queer nonprofits.
Hey, Jonathan. Good job.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's admirable.
I'll be sad not to
Yeah,
see
but
him in anything.
well, I think it's an indication of the frustration level, isn't it? When you think, well, I sure hope good people prevail, and you keep seeing bad idiots prevail, like this
I know,
judge in
right?
Michigan, and you think, all right, well, I'm going to have to step up my game. I think we're all going to have to step up our game and be more active and more strident, perhaps, than we have been.
It's very good for him. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could get an interview with him to talk about this?
Well, let's put that on the list.
All right. Well, a story, let's turn back to depressing stuff. A story caught my eye from Public News Service, and I want to share the audio news package with you. Science is supposed to be fact-based and objective, but new research shows the way it's being used is definitely not, Judith Rees Branch reports.
Science is supposed to be fact-based and objective, but new research shows the way it's being used is definitely not. The Northwestern University study finds partisan use of scientific data and policymaking has increased in the past 25 years and confirms a widening gap between Democrats and Republicans. Researchers found Democrats cite science nearly twice as often as Republicans in congressional committees and 5 times as often in think tanks. Northwestern Assistant Professor Alexander Furness says the pattern is consistent across multiple policy areas, and some findings were more obvious than others.
It was not obvious to me going into this that what we would find would be the differences would be quite so large or quite so widespread. Certainly, the differing relationships to climate science is very unsurprising.
What is surprising, he says, is the magnitude of the partisan gap across nearly all scientific disciplines. They also studied political elites and policymakers and found significantly lower levels of trust in scientists and scientific institutions among Republicans compared to Democrats. Furness notes that previous research focused on public statements by politicians, but this study examined actual policy documents. He says even in documents on the same issues, they found major differences in which scientific papers were cited by Republican versus Democratic sources.
We observe these partisan differences both in their attitudes towards science and in the
Oh, well, That just cut out there. We apologize for that. Thank you to Judith Ruiz Branch and Public News Service for that package. Part of the reason why I wanted to flag that for listeners is a couple things. One, as progressives, the reason why we have a professional and science-based federal government is because of the progressives. In the early 20th century, progressives, which frankly were on both sides of the aisle. There were progressive Democrats and there were progressive Republicans, and they were all pushing for a more professional, credentialed, that's the word I'm looking for, credentialed federal service in departments. Employees who should be working there know what they're talking about. And so when we see now the Republicans are just completely abandoning science and research in the laws that they are, this is attacking directly progressive history and what we fought so hard to do in the early 20th century, actually starting back in the late 1900s. But the other part of this, which very much ties into the LGBTQ community, we have been working so hard over the past 40, 50 years to develop good science when it comes to medicine, good science when it comes to rights, good science when it comes to workplace discrimination. And these are peer-reviewed studies where, you're the researcher and you do the study and then you have to give it off to other people who have no idea about any of it. They read your study, they will look at you, how you conducted your research, and they say, yeah, you did a good job on this, or no, you didn't, so it's not going to get published, right? So we did this peer-reviewed stuff. We've been doing longitudinal studies, meaning studies that go on for years, not just like a survey over, 3 months. And so we've developed such an amazing amount of science and research to back what's happening within the community as it relates to sexuality, as it relates to gender identity. And now we have a whole group of people who are increasingly not only hostile to us, but saying, oh yeah, all that research that you have, I don't believe in it.
Right. Because Donald Trump told me something different. Yeah. Well, it's shameful because when I was growing up, throw my generation out there, my parents believed in higher education. We believed in public education. We believed in learning more than our parents knew so that we could have a better life than our parents did. And it was all considered, even these two Republicans believed you need a degree, you need, to better yourself so that you can have a better life, you can compete, you can, whatever it is you need to do, job skills. I know it's partly job skills, but it's also history and poetry and everything else. It's what makes a good, well-rounded person instead of a moron who can hear something from a congenital liar and say, well, that's what I believe in. That is laziness.
Mm-hmm.
So it appears the Republicans, I don't really know what they believe in. When I was a Republican for about 3 years, I believed in smaller government. I believed in efficiency in government. I knew why I was associated with that party. I don't know what these people say to themselves now. What in the world, honestly, deeply, do they believe in? I
Funny
can't
you
tell.
should ask. So we did a huge deep dive. If you missed this episode yesterday, with Samuel Clues-Hunicke from George Mason University about fascism. Jason Stanley, excellent book if you want to read it, How Fascism Works. There is a whole chapter devoted to how fascists gain power is by going after science and researchers and universities and destroy them.
Right.
And what do we see happening? Exactly that over the past, well, not just over the past 9 months, but they've been doing this for decades. And unfortunately, I have to hit a break here. With corporate media bending the knee to MAGA, support for independent news and talk is more important than ever. Listen to the advertisers and sponsors in this news break. Give them a shout out on social media for supporting independent and progressive media. Even better, do business with them. Tell them you heard about them on The Gailey Show on AM 950 Radio or WCPT 820. More from The Gailey Show when we come back.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast. We'll expose all the latest schemes, frauds, and more. Weeknights at 7 on AM 950.
The place for live music is the Park Tavern. Live music takes over the Park Tavern's dog-friendly patio. Head over on Tuesday, September 9th. It's the Blue Drifters. Wednesday, September 10th, it's DB Cooper. And on Thursday, September 11th, it's the Ice Holes. Music runs from 5:30 to 8 p.m., and reservations of groups of 8 or more are recommended. And the Park Tavern offers private and semi-private spaces for small and large groups with no room fees and no minimum spending requirements. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, outdoor live music is on at the Park Tavern.
Get ready for the music event of the season. Powderhorn Porch Fest returns Saturday, September 20th, 4 to 10 p.m. for another legendary evening of 13 epic performances across 3 uniquely Powderhorn Porch stages featuring genres from hip-hop, R&B, surf punk, Latin folk, and more. Powderhorn Porch Fest spans 2 blocks on 17th Avenue South between 32nd and 34th Street. KRSM will be spinning beats with the diverse sounds of the South Side all night long. Treat yourself to Minneapolis' favorite food trucks, then grab a refreshing cold drink at the Beer Garden. The festival's family-friendly by day with activities for kids and an unforgettable celebration for adults after dark. Best of all, Powderhorn Porch Fest is free to attend with proceeds supporting the community programs of Powderhorn Park Neighborhood Association. Don't miss out on this one-of-a-kind music and community celebration. Powderhorn Porch Fest, September 20th, 4 to 10 p.m. Details at ppna.org/porchfest.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. To avoid gimmicks, call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
The independently owned Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for your next book. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making recommendations no matter your age or taste. Plus, they have frequent events including book readings and meet and greets with authors. And they sell more than just books. They have a wide variety of puzzles and games, too. So stop in and browse the store off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 72. Tonight, showers and storms with a low around 61. And Wednesday, partly sunny with a high near 77. The Great Wall Restaurant serves up bold, authentic Chinese flavors. From hot and sour soup to Peking duck, their Szechuan and Mandarin menu is packed with favorites. Visit them at 4515 France Avenue South or at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
AM 950 KTN up, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ progressive news and talk show in the United States, coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. It is 33 minutes after the hour. I'm your host, John Parker. My executive producer, Jim Pounds, is in the studio with me. If you are listening in the 2 p.m. Central Hour, you can join our conversation at 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. What are your thoughts on the Michigan judge tossing the lawsuit out against the fake electors in Michigan, or the declining use of science among Republicans? While we are waiting for your calls, I want to turn to another story that is very concerning for me. So Google's algorithm is once again proving problematic for the LGBTQ community. A number of years ago, there was a problem with the algorithm where people would go in and start to type the word lesbian, and all that would show up is pornography.
Oh.
Yeah, because a whole bunch of straight men wanted to see lesbians, apparently.
Right. Yes. They're going to miss that pornography.
Mhm.
Really, a
So
whole
there was
lot.
a big concerted effort, and Google had to go and change how their algorithm worked so that you could actually type the word and get, actual real stuff for, people who are identifying as lesbian. They could go out and find, organizations and, things to do, films, books, TV, et cetera, et cetera. YouTube, which is owned by Google, was accused in a lawsuit of demonetizing LGBTQ creators, meaning that they were downplaying the effort, the videos that those LGBTQ creators were making. They were, flagging them for inappropriate content. The case was ultimately tossed by a California judge because they said that the judge didn't rule on the merits of the case. There was weird things about the standing and whether or not the laws they were citing actually applied to Google. Right. So we didn't actually get to the facts of the case and whether or not they were actually doing it. There was the whole, who had standing or who. I mean, it was a whole big thing there. So now we have Google. This is a report coming out of Uncloseted Media, which is an LGBTQ-focused investigative news outlet. And this is just to remind folks that Google is the most powerful search engine in the world. They've got over like 90% of the search engine market. They get $348 billion a year in revenue. Right. They basically won their antitrust lawsuit that just came down last week or the week before, where they weren't required to break up as a company.
Right.
Once again,
just an awful.
If you're Trump and if you're a major corporation, you get to do whatever you want in the United States of America. Anyhow, on Closeted Media, it was a small study with a group of folks from around the country, and they asked them to Google 5 common queries related to LGBTQ identity, religion, right, and parenting. Now, the reason for that is like because I do so much research on LGBTQ news, if I put something into the Google's pretty much figured me out, and what I'm looking for, hence all that, tailoring. Yeah. But the results were alarming because, when you've got 40%, as they note here in the Uncloseted Media report, when you've got 40% of LGBTQ youth who are seriously considering suicide, their question was, what happens when a queer teen or the parent of a gay kid in crisis goes to Google?
Thinking it's a legitimate resource, which it's not.
Right. And what ends up happening is that if you go in there and that predictive text, you start to write something in the search bar, and then like underneath a whole bunch of options show up.
Right.
Well, they're basically driving you towards conversion therapy.
Oh, I completely believe it. Google's a terrible. I mean, I'm sorry, you mentioned YouTube. YouTube allows people to post violent animal videos. It is people at YouTube are sick. I'm sorry, mentally sick that they would allow that to be, that they won't even regulate that. I'm sorry, that really how that gets me going. So association with Google is bad in my mind. And I'm not surprised that this technology, which Mark Zuckerberg lied about would bring us all together, is actually doing the exact opposite.
So one participant in the article said that she Googled accurate information on gay kids and what to do. The number one result was focus on the family.
Oh, good Lord. I'm sorry.
Which is I would say, religious terrorist group when it comes to the LGBTQ community and their pernicious use of conversion therapy.
Blank. Yep. Well, your partner and my partner believes that social media should be banned outright. And that might be a little too extreme, but I think it has done far more harm than it has done good. That's true in business. It's true in social lives.
And there was a report from a few years ago where people were tracking, Google releases information on, most used terms and phrases. And phrases like am I gay, am I bi, am I trans, increasingly by kids is used where they don't want to. And now you live in a period where you don't have to talk to another human being. You can sit there on your phone and Google, am I gay? Or how do I know I'm bisexual?
Right.
And what Google gives you is really important.
It's anti-human.
And if you're a parent and you're going into Google thinking, okay, well, I used Google to find this restaurant, or I used Google to find this other thing, so I like Google and the resources. I find it very helpful. So I go into Google and I put accurate information on gay kids and what to do.
Right.
And you get focus on the family as the first result.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's more than alarming. It's immoral, I would say. Oh, that's
my phone
started to answer his question. Find out if you're
phone,
gay or bisexual.
this is terrible.
Yeah.
This is, seriously, is Google listening right now?
Yeah, of course they are. Well,
the stupid AI just tried to respond.
I hate Google.
To me as we're talking about Google.
Google. But I hear what you're saying. People trust it because they get it for something benign, like where's the closest, pet shampoo place, and now it's being used to turn people into a dangerous place that will kill people. Honestly, if you're talking about somebody that's vulnerable to suicide, this will kill people. And if you own Google stock, if you support Google in any way, you're supporting that unintentionally, maybe, but you're supporting it. So yeah, Google is. I knew this when I was buying digital advertising. Google was bad news 15 years ago. And I would be very happy to see it broken up and buried and the ground sowed with salt. That would be perfectly fine with me.
Other examples from the article, a guy in Cincinnati Googled, quote, accurate information on homosexual kids and what to do. Again, focus on the family was the top result. An individual in Anchorage, Alaska, Googled, quote, I am bisexual and have a husband who is Christian. Am I going to hell? Focus on the family was the third result that said same-sex attracted strugglers and transgender and homosexual lust and behavior are wrong.
Oh, boy. Well, people will either find their own salvation through personal strength, or they'll be destroyed by this kind of thing, or by organized religion, as far as I'm concerned. And I hate to think of that. We've tried to fight back against it, but there's money to be made in lying to people and getting them to do something against their interest. My gosh, we see that now every day. People, how many millions get up, do something to hurt themselves every day? So
now, part of the problem is that MAGA Christians and Christian nationalists are obsessed with us.
Yes.
And so while we don't know exactly how Google's algorithm works,
right,
one thing that we all sort of know in the SEO game and people who have a website is that Google sends out what they call little spiders that go across every website, everywhere published on the internet. And it looks at the content and then the traffic and who's citing that content, right? So, for instance, once upon a time, if you were trying to Google like GLAAD Media Award nominated podcasts, there really wasn't much there. And so, I put a post together about our GLAAD Media Award nomination for This Queer Book Saved My Life. This is not just, I'm not just, trumpeting this, folks. There's a reason to this. When I put it on just its own separate page, we didn't get a lot of traction to that page, even though we were linking to it from the homepage. When I moved the content information to our homepage of thisqueerbook.com, suddenly, because more people were coming to our homepage, we got listed. If you searched GLAAD Media Award podcast, we were then suddenly listed as a result in the Google search results.
Because of where you put it.
Because of the number of people that were coming to our website, we had the information and the text there. So when the Christian nationalists and MAGA are obsessed with us and they create all of this content and then everybody's going to it and linking to it, it creates this situation with the algorithm where if you are actually searching for accurate information like these folks are in this article, you're being sent over to focus on the family.
Right. To inaccurate information. That's so the
And this is not just a
it's a
problem with
swizz.
Google's algorithm. There are businesses that purport to, for PR folks and for podcast researchers, where they create these algorithms to help you find podcasts to advertise on, podcasts to pitch your guests to. So if you're in marketing or you're in PR, if you're a researcher, you're trying to find LGBTQ podcasts, so you use their search algorithm. It's the same problem because they put out so much more content about LGBTQ people, and they have this, inbred group of people that just obsess with us, and they're constantly talking about us, that when you do a search, I mean, we ran a podcast. I mean, it's still running, This Queer Book Saved My Life. It's been running for 3.25 years now. We don't even get listed in the top search results on these search engines.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you're getting far right nonsense. And I called out one of these companies for doing that, and they kicked me off of that platform. I was using it on a free trial to say, what is going on here? I thought you were going to be a resource, and instead you're doing this.
Right.
I called them out. They kicked me off of the free trial, and then they tried to lambaste me over social media.
Yeah.
And I just went after them. And then finally I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. Like, why are you so obsessed with me, as opposed to admitting that you have a problem with your search engine that anybody right now can go in and replicate?
Right.
You're just trying to shut down somebody that is calling you out.
Right.
So in this world of social media and using Google, and apparently U.S. courts are not interested in breaking up Google's throttle hold on search engines.
You'd said earlier 90% of that. Having worked in the business, they have about 80%. And that's a monopoly. That is by definition, that is a monopoly. And yet another stupid judge, doesn't understand anything about economics, I don't know, says they don't need to be broken up with 80% of the search business in this one company. It's disgraceful. And I don't know and it's harming people. And I can see the sort of disappointment on your face that what do you do about it?
Because the algorithm is set up against us.
Right.
Like, I don't even know. I haven't tried it. I should try, but I can't do it on I should find somebody else's laptop, and not, because if I search for The Gaily Show, it'll obviously show up there.
Right.
But for other folks, if they're searching for stuff like us, would they even find it using search terms? Or would, if you put it in, like LGBT podcasts or daily news shows, would we even show up?
I don't know.
I know. That's the problem.
We should ask our listeners
That's
to do
the
that.
problem, Google. Anyway, we have a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Democrats and elections. And if we're in disarray, why are Democrats winning everything? You're listening to The Gaily Show. Hey friends, John Parker here from The Gaily Show. Traveling as a queer person or with queer friends and family needs to be worry-free, relaxing, and with a sparkle of adventure. So that's why for the past 10 years, I head up to the Fresh Coast and Michigan's Marquette County. With its spectacular fall colors, dozens of hiking trails, local breweries, good food, eclectic shopping, and its historic downtown, and even a film festival, it's just what I need for a long weekend getaway. Join me and head up to the Fresh Coast. Visit travelmarquette.com to start your journey.
This is no bedtime story. It's Treasure Island, a thrilling stage adventure packed with sword fights, secrets, and the lure of buried gold. Join young Jim Hawkins and the infamous Long John Silver as they set sail on a journey where trust is tested and danger lurks behind every wave. Live on stage at Children's Theatre Company, September 9th through October 19th. Tickets at childrenstheatre.org.
Four Sisters Farmers Market is more than a place to shop for delicious organic food. It's a celebration of Indigenous culture, food sovereignty, and community. Now in its 11th season, the market offers healthy, affordable, culturally appropriate local foods every Thursday from 11 to 3. Located on the American Indian Cultural Corridor off Franklin Avenue, Four Sisters Farmers Market is a project of NAGTI. Every Thursday now through October, Discover more about Four Sisters Farmers Market by visiting nacdi.org.
Hi, this is Laura with Food Freedom Radio, and I invite you to discover 2 local grocery stores with a global fare. Market Fresh, south of Rosedale, carries fresh vegetables, quality meats, seafood, and a wide variety of grocery staples, all in a welcoming store. Shanghai Wholesale Market is in the St. Paul Midway area, and it's a food warehouse open to the public. Shanghai Wholesale carries more than 500 types of noodles. And frankly, it's time for Minnesotans to learn that pasta is a little bit more than spaghetti noodles and tuna casserole. There's sweet potato, bean, rice, fresh, frozen, rye. It's a paradise for those seeking gluten-free pasta. Also, both Market Fresh and Shanghai Wholesale Market seek to buy local, so you can look for local quail eggs, unique cheeses, and Minnesota-made tofu. Open the door to food abundance. Discover Market Fresh, your local Asian food store just south of Rosedale, and Shanghai Wholesale Market, your local international food warehouse north of Menards in the St. Paul Midway area.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. We are coming up on the top of the hour. So we get all the stories about the Democratic Party being in disarray. There's no clear leader. Are they resisting? Are they not resisting? You know, are they fighting? Are they not fighting? Et cetera, et cetera. But there is something that should be noted here, which is the actual voting that's happening. And before we get to the voting, I think there's a very alarming red flag for the Democrats, which is both in Pennsylvania and in Florida, where the Democratic Party is at record lows for registration. Like they are getting wiped off the map when it comes to registering voters, which historically has been a pretty good Democratic thing here. And there have been a lot of complaints about the new Democratic Party chair, Ken Martin, that they're not registering voters and they're not fundraising. So what is, Ken doing over there? And that's a conversation for a different episode. However, in Iowa, state Senate races, Democrats flipped districts that Trump won by double digits, and they erased a week ago or 2 weeks ago. They took away the Republican supermajority in the Iowa State Senate because they flipped another one. So that's 2 races. Today we've got an election in Northern Virginia, which is to fill the seat for Representative Jerry Connolly, who died earlier this year. His chief of staff and a former chief of staff, rather, and current Fairfax County Supervisor James Walkinshaw is heavily favored to win the district. It'll be very curious to see how many points more than Kamala he wins, because in Florida, there were a couple of elections, let's see here, last week, where the Democratic candidates, even though they were in safe Democratic districts, won by much larger margins than the Harris-Walz ticket did in 2024. And we saw this earlier this year as well, where there were 2 special elections for very safe Republican districts because they were very much gerrymandered. And even though Florida says they don't have gerrymandering, and it's in their constitution supposedly, but in those races, the Democrats overperformed what they were expected to, and these were seats that usually the Democrats lose by 20 plus points, and they were only losing them by like 10 points, which was pretty significant. Now again, Florida, I think they are at a literal record low of the number of registrations that they have there for the Democratic Party. But this November are going to be 2 big races, the governor races in Virginia and in New Jersey. Now on CNN, there is their chief data analyst, Harry Entim, has said that Mickey Sherrill from New Jersey, the Democratic candidate, has an 89% chance of victory. And Virginia's Democratic candidate, Abigail Spanberger, has a 94% chance of victory, which he says should be a flashing red siren for the Republicans. And he said that, he went to the research and said that looking at data from 1989, when the same party wins in both New Jersey and Virginia's gubernatorial races, that party wins the House of Representatives 6 out of 7 times.
Yeah, I think what the Republicans are probably doing, because I think they know they're unpopular. I think they will do anything illegal or underhanded to give themselves an advantage. So in Pennsylvania, they realize this is the kind of thing Philadelphians wouldn't pay that much attention to. Retaining Supreme Court justices is sort of something that always gets low turnout. So they are registering people right, left, and upside and downside to get a numerical advantage and tear away one or two or all three of the Democrats that are up for retention. So they've put the importance on it. They've spent an enormous amount of money on it and an enormous ground game. They have many, many, many people on the ground throughout the state of Pennsylvania. And so they've made this their number one priority is to take away at least 2 of those seats. And we, i.e. Ken Martin and who else, are apparently sort of even you were saying a little bit like, well, this is what usually happens. We're not in a time of what usually happens. This is like climate change. It doesn't matter what used to happen 40 years ago. What happens is that the Republicans are being very smart, very sharp, very dedicated, and they will take a dump truck of money and a dump truck of people and smother the state with it to try to make something improbable happen in an election nobody's paying attention to, including our leadership.
Well, the question then becomes, are Democrats going to win despite disarray if they are not registering voters at the levels that they should be, if they're not fundraising at the levels that they should be? What is going to happen here? Because it's going to be very they may get full control in Virginia in November, meaning they have the legislature and they have the governor's mansion. So
who they?
The Democrats.
They. Okay. Yes. Well, that'd be great.
We'll see.
That'd be great. I'm doing what we talked about with Vote Forward. I sent letters to people about the Pennsylvania Supreme Court race. I suggest other people do that. I suggest other people donate, as you will, and get involved and volunteer and try to overcome this disadvantage, because this will affect, I believe, the 2028 presidential election, if we have one. This race, this state, largest swing state, you better turn your attention to it. Even if Ken Martin isn't, you'd better turn your attention to it as a Democrat that cares about what happens. Not you, but I mean you.
Well, yeah,
generally.
obviously, we're going to be talking a lot about elections and democracy because LGBTQ rights and our lives are at stake here in American democracy.
Indeed.
And is it going well? We will keep reporting on that. Well, thanks everyone for listening and or watching today. Up next on WCPT 820 is Choose Views with Richard Chu on AM 950 radio. It is the Matt McNeil Show up next. Stay tuned after that for Native Roots Radio. And then at 10 p.m. Central, step into the unknown with Greg Bakken on Ghostbox Radio. You can stream our show everywhere you get your podcasts, or you can watch us at youtube.com/@TheGaileyShow, and you can connect with us on Blue Sky. We're at thegaileyshow.org on Blue Sky. Until tomorrow, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.